Have you ever wondered if animals, with that almost magical sensitivity they possess, can perceive something that completely escapes our eyes? Something that we humans simply do not see? Especially in places like hospitals, true epicenters of intense emotions, arrivals and departures, places where so many stories intersect and sometimes end. Could it be that there, in those corridors heavy with energy, where life and death dance a constant waltz, our four-legged companions might catch a glimpse of the invisible, a heightened perception of presences that no longer inhabit the physical plane? Think about it. How many times have you seen your dog bark at an empty corner of the house, or your cat stare fixedly at a point in nothingness, as if following a movement only they can see? Have you experienced this? This animal intuition, that famous sixth sense that intrigues us so much, seems to manifest in surprising ways, challenging our understanding of reality. And what if this extraordinary ability were even more amplified in environments where emotional energy is palpable, as is the case in hospitals? Places where hope, fear, relief, and pain concentrate so densely. Imagine the scene. A therapy dog, known for its affection and loyalty to a specific patient, continues to visit the now empty room, lying at the foot of the bed as if waiting for a caress that will no longer come from that hand. Or a hospital resident cat that suddenly starts avoiding a certain corridor or hissing at a chair where, until recently, a beloved patient used to spend hours. Would these be just habits, persistent olfactory memories, or is there something more? A subtle perception of the essence, the presence of the one who has departed. The animal universe is a well of fascinating mysteries. Their senses, like smell and hearing, are exponentially more developed than ours. They capture sound frequencies inaudible to us, distinguish odors in minimal concentrations. But what about the perception of energies, subtle fields, or even, who knows, manifestations of the supernatural? It is a murky terrain, I know, a topic that divides opinions and is often relegated to folklore. But when reports accumulate, when stories from different parts of the world echo similar patterns, we begin to wonder if there is not some truth behind it all. Stay with me until the end of this video, because today we are going to dive deep into this enigma. We will explore the mystery behind the supposed ability of animals to feel the presence of patients who have already left us, to perceive echoes of those who have crossed the veil. This is not about asserting absolute truths, but about investigating, questioning, opening the mind to possibilities that might explain such intriguing behaviors of our pets. What you will discover now may surprise you, and perhaps even change the way you see the sensitivity of your own animal companion. We will analyze what science, albeit timidly, is beginning to observe about animal perception in delicate contexts. And we will, of course, enter the territory of chilling reports, stories that suggest a connection that transcends our common understanding of life and death. Are animals, in fact, silent guardians? Witnesses of a world hidden just beyond our peripheral vision? Are they tuned to frequencies that we, with our logic and limited senses, have simply unlearned to perceive? The journey to unravel the animal sixth sense in places as charged as hospitals is just beginning, and the clues may be closer than we imagine, perhaps in the attentive gaze of your own pet as it watches something, or someone, that you cannot see. And it is exactly about this deep connection, this perception that seems to transcend the ordinary, that we are going to delve into. Many of us who live daily with these incredible beings have already witnessed moments like these, instances that leave us with that nagging feeling, questioning if there is more between heaven and earth than our vain philosophy supposes, right? And speaking of these experiences, in this universe of sensations that animals provide us, I really want to know from you. If this subject has already stirred your emotions, or if you have a story, no matter how small, about your pet's sensitivity in perceiving things you didn't notice, leave in the comments what has touched you the most so far, or your theory about it. Your experience is extremely valuable, and this space is ours. A community to exchange these impressions and, who knows, together find some pieces of this puzzle. By the way, if you are feeling this connection with the topic, if this investigation into the animal sixth sense and the mysteries surrounding places like hospitals resonates with you, don't forget to leave your like on this video. This simple gesture shows us that we are on the right track, that this kind of content is relevant to you. And more than that, if you want to keep exploring these enigmas with us, uncovering other stories and diving into debates that challenge our perception, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Your participation here, whether by commenting, liking, or subscribing, is what really makes this channel grow and allows us to reach more people who, like us, are fascinated by these mysteries and seek answers, or at least good questions. It is your support that drives us to bring more and more investigations like this. But, returning to our journey today, to better understand this possible ability of animals to sense presences that have already departed, we first need to recognize the foundation of it all, the undeniable connection they have with the world around them, a perception that, in many ways, is truly extraordinary and far superior to ours. Think, for example, about the canine sense of smell. While we barely distinguish a few basic scents, a dog can detect substances in concentrations of parts per trillion. It's as if they live in a three-dimensional world of aromas, capable of telling entire stories just through the air. There are studies, and not a few, that demonstrate dogs' ability to sniff out certain diseases in early stages, long before any human technology. That alone gives us an idea of how different their sensory reality is. And hearing? Cats and dogs hear ultrasonic frequencies that are pure silence to us, allowing them to perceive the slightest noise, the most subtle movements behind the scenes of our perceptible world. This sensory richness is not just a biological detail, it shapes their mentality, the way they interact with the environment and make decisions. They are constantly processing an amount of information that we can barely conceive. Now, if their physical senses are already so extraordinarily sharper, what about a possible energetic perception? Many researchers and animal behavior observers, although it is still a field in its infancy in terms of formal scientific validation for the supernatural, suggest that animals may be sensitive to electromagnetic fields, subtle variations in the atmosphere, or perhaps to this residual energy we talk about, that hidden truth that may remain in places of strong emotional impact. They do indeed live in a much richer sensory world, a constant journey of stimuli that we filter out or simply do not capture. What else could they perceive with such finely tuned sensory equipment? What kind of revelations could their behaviors bring us if we learned to decode them correctly? Now, I want to go even deeper into this subject, because if we accept this premise of an expanded perception, how would this specifically translate in the hospital environment, a place so unique in its emotional and energetic charge? If they pick up nuances that escape us in everyday life, imagine what they would feel in a place where life pulses with such intensity, and, at the same time, where so many farewells happen, leaving behind echoes and memories that may not be just dust on the furniture. The way they react to these environments can be a window to understanding not only their world, but also the more subtle layers of our own existence and the transformation that occurs in these spaces. If this idea of an animal perception that goes beyond the ordinary resonates with you, comment here. They feel more. This heightened sensitivity, this almost palpable connection with the environment, is what leads us directly to stories that, frankly, send chills down the spine. These are tales that circulate through hospital corridors, whispered among nurses and caregivers, modern legends, or testimonies of something that defies our logic. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because it is in these stories that theory meets raw emotion. Think, for example, of the story of Tobias, a therapy Labrador, known for his contagious joy in a palliative care ward. He had a special bond with a lady named Donna Helena. Every day, without fail, Tobias would spend hours by her bedside, offering comfort. After Donna Helena's passing, a remarkable transformation occurred in the dog's behavior. For weeks, Tobias continued his daily journey to room 307, now empty. He would enter, sniff the air, lie down for a few minutes beside the unoccupied bed with a look that seemed to be searching for something or someone. The staff watched, moved, and intrigued. Was it just habit, the power of routine, or was there a hidden truth in the persistence of that animal, an impact of absence that he perceived in a way that went beyond simple memory? Tobias's decisions to continue that daily visit seemed to carry an inexplicable weight, and there are also cases involving felines, creatures known for their independence and keen perception of the environment. There is a story of a cat named Misty, who lived in a hospital and was generally very sociable. However, after the death of a young patient in room 212, with whom she did not have particularly close contact, Misty began to exhibit strange behavior. She would stop at the door of the empty room, her fur bristling, and emit a kind of low meow, almost a lament, staring fixedly at a specific corner. It was as if she were seeing something behind the scenes of visible reality, a silent revelation that only she could witness. The change in the cat's mindset was evident to those who knew her. These stories, and many others like them, make us question. If you have ever heard a similar story or believe that animals have this ability, right here, animal connection. And these stories, as much as they affect us, raise a crucial question. What do they really feel? Is there a more, shall we say, down-to-earth explanation for these unique behaviors, for this apparent attunement with the invisible? Now, I want to go even deeper into this subject, because before we jump to conclusions about the supernatural or some hidden truth that transcends our understanding, it is essential and fair to consider the possibilities that biology and animal psychology themselves offer us. Let's think, for example, about the extraordinary power of smell that we have already mentioned. The scent of a patient, lingering in the environment, on the sheets, perhaps even on a forgotten piece of clothing, could be an extremely powerful sensory trigger for a dog like Tobias, keeping alive a kind of olfactory presence that persistently draws him to that room. This sensory memory, almost a chemical ghost, could explain his daily journey and his decisions to stay there. Furthermore, we cannot in any way underestimate the profound impact of a routine break on an animal's mindset. Dogs and cats, especially those living in structured environments like hospitals or even in our homes, are creatures of deeply rooted habits. The sudden absence of a daily interaction, of an expected affection at the same time, of the familiar voice that brought comfort, represents a significant transformation in their world. This search, this waiting, may be a way to process this change, an attempt to find a lost pattern again, almost as if they were looking for revelations behind the scenes of what has changed. And there is still a crucial factor that we often forget: the incredible ability animals have to mirror and react to our own emotions. They are masters at reading our body language, our tone of voice, and some studies even suggest that they can perceive our physiological changes linked to stress or sadness. In a hospital environment, after a patient's departure, the atmosphere among humans, the staff, other patients, the family members, certainly changes. This palpable sadness, this denser and more introspective energy, could be clearly picked up by the animals, influencing their mood and actions. But, and here is where it gets really intriguing, is that all there is to it? Are these touching and sometimes chilling behaviors just a complex tangle of sharp instincts, persistent olfactory memories, and heightened sensitivity to human sadness? Or do these behaviors actually indicate a perception that goes beyond our five senses, a fine attunement to something we still cannot measure or fully understand, something that resides at the threshold of our known reality? If you believe there is more than just conventional explanations for these phenomena, comment here, mystery in the air. And it is precisely this feeling that there is something more, something that escapes purely scientific or behavioral explanations, that leads us to explore even more fascinating and, why not say mystical territories? This is where we enter one of the most intriguing theories when it comes to animal perception in charged places, the idea of an energy imprint. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because this theory suggests something that goes beyond the tangible. It proposes that very strong emotions, intense life experiences, and, who knows, a person's very vital energy could leave a kind of mark, a subtle signature, an impression on the environment. Think of it as an echo, a resonance of the transformation that occurred there. And places like hospitals, true stages of arrivals and departures, of pain and relief, of fear and hope, would naturally be places where these energy impressions could be particularly potent. Every room, every corridor could carry fragments of these experiences, a hidden truth impregnated in the walls, in the air. The impact of these energies, according to this line of thought, might not be perceptible to most of us humans, with our mentality often focused on the material and our senses dulled by routine and skepticism. But what about animals? Would they, with their instinctive purity, their sensitivity unfiltered by rational logic, be capable of detecting these shadows, or echoes, of those who have already departed? Their decisions to approach a specific place, or to avoid it, could be guided by these subtle perceptions, by these revelations that happen behind the scenes of our reality. This journey to understand if they capture these vibrations is what drives us. If you have ever felt a different energy in some place, write it down. Energy present. And this idea of an energy that remains, that leaves its mark, takes on an even more touching dimension when we think about therapy animals, those true four-legged angels who roam hospitals. They are not there by chance. Their presence has a clear purpose, to offer comfort, joy, and a momentary relief to patients facing difficult times. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because the role of these animals goes far beyond simple affection. They become silent confidants, witnesses to countless personal journeys, moments of vulnerability, and profound transformation in the lives of patients. They offer a pure connection, without judgment, a positive impact that conventional medicine alone often cannot achieve. A patient's mindset can subtly change in the presence of a therapy dog or cat, bringing a bit of lightness to an often heavy environment. But what really intrigues, and here we enter again the realm of stories from behind the scenes of hospital care, is the perception many caregivers and nurses have about these animals. Many caregivers and nurses report that therapy animals seem to know when someone is close to passing, offering a special comfort. It's as if they have a heightened sensitivity to the most subtle changes, not only in the patient's behavior, but perhaps in something more, something that precedes the final farewell. They may become quieter, closer, or even refuse to leave a patient's side in their last moments. Their decisions to stay, to offer this extra comfort, seem to come from a place of deep intuition. Could this be a revelation of the hidden truth of the life cycle, perceived by them in a way we are still trying to understand? If you have ever witnessed or believe in the special sensitivity of therapy animals, comment here, four-legged angels. And when we talk about this almost premonitory sensitivity, it is impossible not to bring up one of the most emblematic and debated cases in this universe, the story of Oscar, the cat. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because Oscar's case, who lived in a nursing home in the United States, transcended anecdotal reports and made it to the pages of newspapers and even books. Oscar's fame did not come from his beauty or for being particularly playful. It came from an astonishing and, for many, inexplicable ability. He supposedly predicted the death of patients. According to reports from the staff at the Steerhouse Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, Oscar, who normally was not a very sociable cat, chose to lie next to specific patients a few hours before they died. He stayed there, purring softly, as if offering a last comfort, a silent companionship on that final journey. The impact of his visits was so consistent that the medical team began to consider Oscar's presence in a patient's room as an almost infallible sign that the end was near, even alerting the family members. A transformation in the routine and mindset of the caregivers, who began to observe the cat's decisions with a mixture of respect and amazement. Of course, numerous attempts arose to explain Oscar's behavior more skeptically. Some suggested that he might be detecting specific odors released by bodies in the process of dying, odors imperceptible to us. Others argued that he might be reacting to the immobility of the patients, or even to subtle changes in the behavior of the staff around those who were terminally ill. Could these be the behind-the-scenes revelations of science? On the other hand, many see in Oscar's story proof of a hidden truth, a connection that goes beyond biology. Could he be capable of perceiving an energetic change, an alteration in the person's vital field, or even some kind of communication with the other side? What do you think? Sharp instinct, an incredible capacity for observation and sensory deduction, or a genuine connection with the threshold between life and death? If Oscar's story has left you curious, comment here. Oscar knew, and this capacity to know, this intuition that seems to transcend common logic and that we have seen in stories like that of the cat Oscar, leads us directly to one of the most moving and, at times, painful territories of the animal experience: grief. They not only seem to anticipate departures, they feel absence in a way that is frankly overwhelming and deeply human in its essence. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because the way animals show the pain of loss is a powerful revelation of the depth of their emotional bonds and their capacity to feel. How many of us have not heard or witnessed dogs who, after the departure of a beloved owner or canine companion, lose their appetite, refuse to play, spend days and nights by the door hoping for a return that will not happen, or howl in a heart-wrenching melancholy? Cats that become more reclusive and skittish, who incessantly search for the scent of the loved one who is gone, or who simply show an apathy, a palpable sadness that was not characteristic of them. This change in their behavior, these decisions to isolate themselves or to search relentlessly, are a silent but eloquent testimony to the impact that absence causes in their mindset and well-being. It is a journey of pain, a hidden truth in their hearts that manifests in ways that touch us deeply. And here lies a question that drives us even further into the mystery. If they feel physical absence so viscerally, so intensely, if the connection they had with a loved one was so strong as to cause such a significant and lasting behavioral change after departure, would it not then be plausible, or at least a possibility to be considered with an open heart, that this same heightened sensitivity, this same capacity for deep connection, would allow them to perceive a non-physical presence of the one they loved and who left? If the bond was so powerful in life, why would it completely vanish into the ether for beings who seem to operate on frequencies we have barely begun to unravel, picking up signals and revelations that occur behind the scenes of our common perception? If you have ever witnessed the pain of grief in an animal or believe in the strength of this feeling in them, write this down. Love that remains. And this ability to feel the love that remains, this connection that seems to defy death itself, leads us to an inevitable question. Does this perception manifest in ways that we, in our daily lives, often ignore or simply do not understand? Now, I want to go even deeper into this subject, because, let's be honest, many of you watching and sharing life with a pet have probably witnessed at least curious scenes. That moment when your dog starts barking insistently at an empty corner of the room, as if seeing something or someone that simply isn't there to our eyes. Or your cat, with that indecipherable feline concentration, staring fixedly at a point in the void, following with its gaze something that to us is just emptiness. Are these moments mere distractions, products of their fertile imagination, or are they small revelations from behind the scenes of our reality, a glimpse of a hidden truth that they can access? This journey to understand their decisions and the transformation in their mindset in the face of the invisible is fascinating. The impact of these experiences, even if subtle, makes us question. We want to know your stories. Have you ever witnessed your animal acting strangely, perhaps in a hospital, showing unusual sensitivity, or even at home, after the loss of a loved one, human or animal, with behaviors that seem to indicate they perceived something beyond our understanding? If your pet has ever left you with this nagging feeling, comment here. My pet sees beyond. And this realization, this sharing of experiences that many of us have lived with our companions, leads us to a crucial point of reflection on everything we have explored so far. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, because looking back at our entire conversation, from the intriguing theory of the energetic press that could permeate places like hospitals, through the palpable and undeniable pain of animal grief, the almost premonitory sensitivity of beings like the cat Oscar, and the silent and profound work of therapy animals, to those experiences that so many of you report, of your dogs barking at nothing, or your cat staring fixedly at an empty spot, one thing becomes incredibly clear. We are facing a mystery that is both fascinating and deeply touching. The journey to understand animal mentality is full of surprising revelations. No, we definitely do not have all the answers, and perhaps that is precisely the great charm of it all. Animals, with their instinctive purity, their innate connection to the world around them in a way we often lose, seem to constantly remind us that there is much more happening behind the scenes of the universe than our perception, often limited by the veil of skepticism or the rush of daily life, can reach. They offer us glimpses of a hidden truth, a subtle impact that invites us to question. Whatever the final explanation for these phenomena we observe and feel, superdeveloped instincts that pick up signals imperceptible to us, a sensory perception that science is only beginning to unravel, or, who knows, a genuine connection with dimensions that transcend our physical understanding, one thing remains undeniable: the extraordinary ability of our animal companions to connect with us on deep levels, to offer unconditional comfort in moments of pain and joy, and perhaps to perceive the invisible, is something that deeply inspires us. Their silent decisions and unwavering loyalty bring about a transformation in those who have the privilege of living with them. If all this exploration about animal sensitivity made you reflect, comment here, deep connection. And it's amazing to realize from your comments and energy how much this quest to understand the sensitivity of our animal companions truly connects us, isn't it? This journey of discoveries, these revelations they provide us, are what motivate me to keep exploring these fascinating topics here with you. If you also feel that this exchange of ideas, this investigation into the mysteries and abilities of animals adds to you, makes you reflect and expand your mindset, then I invite you to subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss any of our upcoming dives into these rich universes, sometimes full of a hidden truth that we are uncovering together. And so I know that you followed every detail of our conversation, that you really allowed this transformation in perspective. Leave a comment below saying, "I made it to the end and reflected." It's a way for me to feel even closer to those who are on this journey with me. If our talk today resonated with you, if you felt the positive impact of our connection, your like is a gesture that greatly strengthens our space for exchange. Oh, and before you go, there's a video appearing here on the side that complements our exploration today very well, bringing other angles on animal perception. Click there and we'll continue this conversation over there, agreed? I'll be waiting for you.